ancient humans walking in the field, right? And one guy's like, oh, what do you want to show me? And he shows him the cow, and he's like, okay, so I think I want to do this, or like whatever. And then his voice starts to trail off, right? It bleeds into the next panel, and it's just like blah, 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 blah. And it cuts to the other guy's face, and he's like, you know, tripped out. And then it goes to the cow's eyes. The cow's just being a cow. And he goes back to the guy's face, and he's like drooling, and then it zooms up on the cow's udders, and then the guy's like, Steve, like, you good? And like, that's it. So it implies like, obviously the guy's
yeah,
like,
I get you. I like it.
Cow's udders. So really what I was just trying to, like, that's my whole idea. I mean, it's kind of lame, but
it's actually not. It's a pretty straightforward gag.
Yeah, that's it.
And you've thought a lot about how it can be presented visually, which is good.
I kind of had a script for it somewhere. I can't find it right now. But what I was really just trying to do is like say what would be a better like way to set that up. You know, like, so what I had. Okay, so panel 1 is silhouettes, both humans in the distant perspective, really revealing the background, which is the field, whatever.
Sure.
And one small text bubble saying, like, what did you want to show me from one human to the other. So then it goes on to that, the next panel, it's just showing the cow, whatever. And then the third panel, so I don't know if I want to have, and this is where I'm looking for, you know, maybe you can give me your advice. So this one explaining like the setup to the blah 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 part. If you want to maybe read it, you can go ahead.
All right, let's see what we got.
I have it like so that their backs are turned to the audience, and I don't know if that's the best type of way to.
Actually, this is pretty good. Let's see here. Let's try some grass. Okay, so the one, like, looking at this, like, my first impression is add the cow to panel 1, because it sounds like, you know, like the cow, they're not going to the cow, so it's already there. So you might as well establish the whole scene. The humans looking at the cow, backs facing the reader, close third-person point of view, that's actually a pretty solid decision. Let's see.
That was the one I was skeptical about, but if that sounds...
Well, it depends on what comes next.
Right.
Let's see. So that's not a bad panel choice. So there's this thing, right? When you set a panel up so that something is big in it, and there's like something like a living thing is large and another living thing is small, the larger living thing is the thing in power.
Yeah.
So do you know what The Graduate is?
What is it?
It's a movie. Do you know have you ever heard of The Graduate?
No.
All right, you're not missing much.
All right.
But it's a pretty famous movie for a variety of reasons, and it's about Dustin Hoffman, who is like young and in college, hooking up with his girlfriend's mom. And the poster advertising The Graduate is just a scene of his girlfriend's mom, like her like stocking-clad leg, cutting over the frame, and Dustin Hoffman just kind of standing like underneath it.
Oh, okay. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So theoretically, this is a scene of like seduction. This is kind of sexy. This is like and whatnot. But it's supposed to make the mom look kind of predatory and like in all the control. Yeah. So she's framed over the top of Dustin Hoffman. So that's what you're doing here. Is you're taking these two dudes and putting them in front of this animal that is much bigger than them, and implying that they have control over it. So that's a solid decision. The question I have is actually about what happens afterwards.
First, it kind of jumbled. I don't know if I like edited it right.
Yeah, that's the first thing is you have 2 panel threes.
Okay.
But that's okay. My writers do that all the time.
Yeah.
My bigger thing is that let's see. So you could do more with like these insets and these close-ups. Like, would I guess when you were describing this to me, what I thought would be funny is if you did something like this. So, here, let's just go whole hog on this thing. So, you have your setup where you've got these 2 dudes. We're going to call that panel 1 and 2, so here we have panel 3. looking at this cow and going blah, 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 right? And then, let's see here. All right, so here we have your close-up of two people, and one of them is making a weird face while the other one talks. And then you have your close-up of your cow. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
So you're doing a cutaway joke, which is really neat, where like all of your humor is in expression.
Yeah.
None of it's dialogue oriented.
That's what I'm doing.
Right, which is a solid decision. You could push that even further if you wanted, because like you're doing this whole time lapse thing with the dialogue.
Yeah.
So like I mean, and at the end of this, like your implication is that they took the milk out of the cow, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the cow doesn't expect this either. So instead of these two shots, you can extend this. So we have our guy talking, and then we show him, like the reacting dude, and then we show him again with a weird look on his face, right? So he starts off credulous, then he like goes, wait, what? And then the cow starts off bucolic, you know, kind of like sleepy-eyed, and then the cow goes, like gets like a weird look on its face.
Yeah.
The way you do when someone just shows up and starts pulling on your bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Right? So then you've got that, and then you jump back into the rest of your story.
Gotcha.
That kind of gives you, like, that, like, just gives, like, it's the same joke you were making, but it's telegraphing further to the audience, and you're, like, really pushing the visual aspect of it, which is what you're leaning on.
Right. Yeah.
Now, that's just my suggestion, obviously. Like, other people might make different ones, but something like that, where you use like more facial expression.
Yeah, I like the cow having a
Right.
facial expression. I really like that.
Especially over time lapse.
Of course.
Like you can really push that. Anyway, but good stuff.